Welcome back for another book review. Today we're talking about this. This is the Encyclopedia of Crystals, Herbs, and New Age Elements by Adams Media. Who's the author? Don't know. It's the publishing house. It is an A to Z guide to New Age elements and how to use them. As the title would kind of suggest, it has different sections in this book. It starts off with crystals and herbs, and then it goes into some kind of more weirder things like the power of touch, the power of sound, the power of light, the power of color. It goes into a lot of different things, but the main sections kind of feel more like the crystals, herbs, flower essences, essential oils, stuff like that. I gave it a 1. And I was torn if I was being a little judgy, but honestly, as the time goes by, the amount of books I read, sometimes I do get a little more harsh on my things, and specifically, like, when we're having placebo effect topics, but not, like, explicitly stated that this is a placebo effect, and also encouraging people to not get proper care. Just, it irks me, and it progressively gets worse. So, going into this, I think you need to know that it is a placebo effect for 90+% of this book. It is. And if you don't know what the placebo effect is, I'm going to link a couple videos in the description for you to watch. It's SciShow. They're pretty short, get to the point. Like, schools all across the country use this as like a training program thing. So, like, pretty well researched. But it explains it very well and very easily of what the placebo effect is. Basically, the power of the mind is intense. If you tell yourself something's gonna happen, it could happen. Like if you give two people a medication, but actually one of them is just a sugar pill, inevitably, sometimes that works better than the actual medication because power of the brain, right? It's a weird thing that happens. They're still studying it intensely, but that is the energy that you need to bring to these remedies that this book is talking about, because otherwise, no. So let's just get into the specifics of this, because there's some. It's not as bad as my last one that I did on the crystal book from Judy Hall. That one was wild. We're curing autism with crystals in my... I mean, actually, you know what? This one still has the same thing if we're gonna treat my bleeding disorder with a crystal, so... Okay, page 39. Garnet purifies and energizes the blood, heart, and lungs, and assists in absorption of vitamins and minerals. So my first question is, legitimately, how? What is the scientific evidence to support this? Because I mean, maybe, I don't know. How does garnet purify your blood? Is it just nearby and it just magically fixes it? Could it replace dialysis? I feel like if that was an option, they would do that. But unfortunately, that's not how that works. And how does your blood need to be energized? Like, it needs to be oxygenized. That word. It needs oxygen in it, right? Along with a lot of other things. The blood is really complex. And how does this rock energize it? And how does it energize your organs? Specifically your heart and lungs. How does that work? Does it replace a pacemaker? Like, it's pseudoscience, right? Again, it's placebo. If you want to think that wearing garnet purifies your blood, whatever, but like also see your doctor, get dialysis, maybe change your diet. You know, if you're having something in a lot of like saturated fats, probably not great for you. If your doctor's like, hey, you need to change your diet because your blood's getting a little gunkety, because that does happen. Your arteries do have problems with certain foods that you eat, especially over years. Like, yeah, probably. But like, how are you supposed to use this rock to do that? And again, at most, you gotta remember placebo effect. Like, if you want to think that that's gonna make a change and then you're also doing mundane stuff, sure, whatever. You know, it's the same thing of like, if you decide to take, like, I don't know, you take Tylenol, but you don't drink water and you're dehydrated and that's why you had a headache. Like, it might help a little bit, but it's not gonna fix the problem. You know, like, you could do it side by side, but do the thing that's most likely to actually help. You know, like, if you want to say that holding this rock is going to give you more energy and then you also start working out more and eating more nutritious foods, maybe. Again, placebo effect. But, like, we don't talk about that. Also, the lighting's going to get real funky because it's supposed to be cloudy, and then the sun is back. Because, of course, it is. All right, let us just continue. So on page 61, and I didn't write down a lot of these like I did the Judy Hall one, by the way. There was a lot. I just picked some, just an FYI. Because this one in particular, this one got me. Page 61. Sapphire regulates the glands, and treats blood disorders. Hi, I have a blood disorder, have a bleeding disorder. My blood is missing a component that makes it so you don't bleed to death. I don't have that, and I'm actually allergic to the thing anyways. And so it's really fun to get treated at the hospital. Cause yeah, that's super fun. Who knew I should go to my hematologist to be like, yo, did you know I don't need my factor? I don't need to have like Amicar. I don't need blood transfusions. I have a wedding ring that has the rock that will fix it. It will treat my bleeding disorder. I have a bloody nose that normally would put me in the hospital for a week. Nah, I got a ring that has a magic stone. Do you see how stupid it sounds? Because that's the reality. Like, if you try and minimize it, guess what? You gotta minimize it. Like, you can't make these really sweeping statements. This is so unbelievably stupid. Don't say these things. Again, placebo effect at best. But don't say you're gonna treat something like a blood disorder because of a rock. That's not how that works. Again, if I want to believe that this will help, whatever, it doesn't hurt anything, but also still follow through with modern medicine, because like, just because our ancestors used a whole lot of rocks to try and fix things, it didn't fix a lot of things. They died all the time. They would love to have our modern medicine. It works really well. And none of these people are smart enough to actually like have these discussions. You need to be a specialist in these fields, and these people are not. And again, there's not even like really an author listed anyways. And there's no sources, so who knows where the information's even coming from? Not that you should anyways, it doesn't matter. There is no source, there is no doctor, a real actual like MD working at a hospital who's gonna treat you, who's like, yeah, blood disorder? Have this rock, it will fix you. Nobody's gonna do that. Next one is one where I could kind of give some level, maybe, but it's a if. So on page 93, cinnamon is used as a remedy for diabetes. Kinda. There is some science behind it. A lot of doctors, if you are dealing with like type 2 diabetes, even type 1, like there is some level where it has a little influence, but again, it's little. Like, there is no doctor, there's no endocrinologist, right? That's the doctor who deals with that mostly. They're not gonna tell you, even some primary doctors will deal with it, they're not gonna tell you to just have cinnamon to fix it, right? It's just one itty bitty little tool to consider to help, but that's it. It's sort of, I think it's like turmeric is another one that it can kind of help a little bit, kind of maybe, but like, it's not gonna replace metformin, it's not gonna replace insulin. Basically, if your body is not handling it correctly, a little bit of cinnamon is like a drop of help. It'll help a tiny bit, but like not that much. And again, like if your doctor is telling you to do that, you're probably also doing a lot of other diet changes. You're probably cutting out a lot of carbs. You're not gonna have any of the fun foods like pastas and breads and potatoes, like any of the fun starchy foods you're not gonna be able to have. You know how I know that? I have a lot of diabetics around. That is not how that works. It is not a remedy for diabetes. It doesn't fix it. And especially if you're like type 1, your organ literally doesn't work. Your body does not know how to function to handle insulin. It just doesn't work. And type 2, sometimes you can remedy it, but it's not because you ate cinnamon. Like, this is just, it's dangerous information. Again, placebo, you want to say it's going to help you? Sure. Also do all of the other crap, but they don't mention that. Again, these books need to have a warning, massive label, placebo effect, at best. And this isn't to say the placebo effect is like not gonna work. It totally works for people. It is amazing what the brain can accomplish if it thinks something's gonna work. It does do amazing things. Like 90% of witchcraft is the placebo effect, and it works. But also we gotta acknowledge, especially for stuff that can kill people, because diabetes left untreated will eventually kill you. You are going to have quite a bit of suffering beforehand because it's not fantastic. Like, I guess maybe if you had a low blood sugar, it would be a quicker way, but still, it's not going to be an easy way to go. And left untreated, it's not good. Don't tell people that it's going to be the remedy for diabetes. It's not. It's dangerous. This next one is just such a red flag. Are you so ready? I don't think you're ready. So, page 134. Bach was a British physician, homeopath, bacteriologist, Yes, something like that. And writer, best known for developing a form of alternative medicine called Bach flower remedies. If that wasn't a red flag, oh, just wait. I started to make notes and then I kept reading. Rather than basing these remedies on medical research, he based them on humans' psychic connection to plants. What in the quackery is this? No. Why would we base things on science? You know, the theory of we should be able to replicate something and test it, and if it survives so many levels of testing, it eventually becomes a theory, a scientific theory, like the Big Bang, like gravity, things sometimes we take for like granted that at one point was just a theory, but like sometimes people were dumb, like the DNA, junk DNA being a theory that was disproven because science is a thing. Science is great. Why are you basing it? And like he goes on to say that his based off of the human psychic connection to plants is his. That's not how that works. This is so stupid. Because why would you want to have medical research? What the F? This is so stupid. Just don't follow these wackadoos. Like, it is dangerous. A supposed doctor, right? Because he claims to be a physician who is, and I don't know, maybe British might have, because I know sometimes medical terms slightly change country to country and especially era to era, but like, no, because I think he was in the 1800s. But no, this is bad. Don't follow this crap. Somebody who doesn't want to follow medical research to do medical things, that should be a red flag. Because also, do you not think our ancestors were like, ah, yes, this plant, that's edible, and then died? Yeah. Duh. Oh my god. Like, there's so many things in this world that will kill you. Don't ingest it. And homeopathy in general is just, don't do that. And kind of following along with that lovely topic, we have our last major point of 269. Here we go. While most people end up trying acupuncture as a last resort, it's better to give it a try earlier in the process. Oh, I forgot I had this. Are you ready? Are you ready? You were not prepared. You're gonna need this because what the crap? Keep your tin hats ready for these crystal books. Really, any of my 1 stars. Are you ready? Let's continue. So that you can avoid the possibility of unnecessary surgery, prescription drugs you don't need, and other unpleasant experiences. Tinfoil hat time. This is how people die. If you've never interacted with alt health, alt med people, this is what happens when they fall for this crap and then they don't get proper treatment and then they die. Because no, acupuncture is not going to cure your cancer. Again, placebo effect. You want to think it's going to help you? Go for it. Also, do what your actual doctor recommends, like radiation or chemo or whatever their treatment is. The surgery to cut it out so you don't die. Wild concept. There's so many people who die because they follow these wackadoos and then, oh my god, guess what? It didn't work and then you died. And just again, how dangerous is this for not a medical professional to be telling you of the possibility of unnecessary surgery? Most times, you're not going to get acupuncture in replacement of an actually unnecessary surgery, like cosmetic surgery. Unnecessary. like the only unnecessary one I could even consider for myself that'd be like, that's probably unnecessary, is the potential of getting an ache retrieval. It's considered a surgery, especially for me. And like, that is technically unnecessary. It's super expensive to boot, but like, that's not what they're talking about though. You know, they're not talking about getting a nose job. They're not even going beyond that. They're not even talking about like, if you want to do like, technically, again, remember I'm an ally here on this one, but technically, trans people don't necessarily need surgery. Theoretically, it's unnecessary. Your body will continue to function without doing it. But also acupuncture is like gonna make you grow different organs, right? Like you're gonna need a plastic surgeon to go in and do their magic and then like voila, and then you have a body that matches you, right? That's also not what they're talking about. at all, right? The odds are pretty good they're not talking about that. Unnecessary surgery is going to be like, you have cancer? Don't worry about it. We're just not going to cut it out, and we're just going to put these little tiny, tiny needle things in you. It's a weird experience. If you've never had acupuncture, it's wild. I just felt really weird because it's like I can't move. I've done it once. It was wild. I didn't love it. I think massage is better. It's like, it's weird. If you love it, that's great. Remember, placebo effect. It does work. But again, also, it's still a placebo effect. And there is really, no doctor's gonna do an unnecessary surgery. That's not a thing. Like, do you know how much paperwork it is alone to do a surgery? If they don't have to do paperwork, they will not do paperwork. Like, the medical field hates paperwork. They're not gonna do it unnecessarily. Dangerous. And again, prescription drugs you don't need. Do you know how many drugs you have to fight to get? I have to battle it out with my doctor and my insurance company and the pharmacy every couple months because my doctor just flat out just has a brain that cannot function, because when you talk to her about my drugs, she's like, oh yeah, totally. Skip that month, the little thing at the end, so that you don't have like a cycle that's gonna last for an entire month. Bleeding for a month sucks. And so she's like, yeah, don't take that, it's fine. And then never writes it correctly, so then me and the pharmacist every like 2 months is like, oh my god, she didn't do it, did she? Nope. Great. And then the insurance is like, well, that's not written that way. I'm like, I don't know, you could look at the diagnosis and be like, I have it. Oh my god, it is a battle. It is a battle. I need to just go see a hematologist and have them write it, because I'm pretty sure they could handle it. Because like, oh my god. Anyways, but is that an unnecessary drug? No. I mean, technically I don't need it. Just without it, I will inevitably die. And, you know, like, doctors don't just like give you drugs for funsies. Like, they usually give it to you for a reason. And it's scary to be promoting this idea that the things doctors and medical professionals are telling you to do are unnecessary and are, what was the exact words? I'm really caught on the unnecessary, that you don't need, still unnecessary. You know, like, they don't give you antibiotics for funsies. It's because you need it. Like, oh my god. And the other unpleasant experiences. What does that even mean? Is it the blood draws to see how your levels are doing on a variety of things, like your vitamins, your minerals, your blood count, you know, checking organ functions? Like, is it the hospital stays to keep you alive? What is the unpleasantries that you speaketh of? I think you're an idiot. Adams Media, because what is this? And then the most absolute telling part of this entire monstrosity of a book, there are 0 sources. Where is this crap coming from? Don't know. And again, there really isn't like an author listed here on the publication page. We have F+W Media. I'm guessing it's like the parent company to Adams Media, because they do that, which is weird. We have a cover design person, but that's it. So I don't know who wrote this, but the fact that anyone did is just atrocious. So don't fall for this crap. Again, this is the thing that sucks when being a witch, is just the sheer amount of pseudoscience you have to fight through. And that's what this is. It's parading itself as scientific fact. It is not. At best, it is a placebo effect, where you believe something's gonna work, so it works most of the time. Again, there are limitations. Like, one of the videos that I have linked below talked about how it's like more of the range stuff works better with placebo rather than black or white. Like, but even then, sometimes you probably could argue it a little bit. But like, again, still, I can't placebo my way through a bleed. That's not gonna work. I literally don't have the part of my blood to fix it. I need to have extra of a different one to kind of manage it. Because again, I'm super allergic and have an inhibitor, so it will not work no matter what. Except maybe if you do like the DNA change stuff, and that scares me, and I'm not gonna do that. But again, that is 100% way outside the scope of this idiot book. Because also, actual medical people will have so many studies listed. They will tell you the peer reviews and all of that. And peer review is not just your buddy looked it over. It's usually somebody trying to disprove your theory to be like, is it legit? I don't think so. And they're like, oh, I guess it is. Probably not that petty. They're probably just like, it's a job, whatever. But still, none of that is even included in this. So I don't recommend anyone read this. And that it sucks because some of the information was fine. But again, when you get into the realm of pseudoscience and you're promoting this crap, and I honestly think there's some in the past that I probably gave higher ratings that now I wouldn't, just because I'm so tired of this. Like, it's so dangerous and it's so stupid. Like, you don't need to have this. You can say magic exists under the placebo effect and it's fine, and encourage people to get real treatment. Because again, if I want to hold a rock and tell myself that this is going to help in my processes, whatever, but also, like, medical stuff actually exists and it's really dangerous. Don't try and treat your diabetes with cinnamon. Don't try and cure your blood disorder with a sapphire. Like, it's just dangerous information, and I wish we didn't have these kinds of books. I wish we didn't have this sort of information to have to sift through. But it is what it is, so don't get this book. There's better ones out there. And any book that tells you to avoid modern science, to avoid modern treatments, that it's going to purify your blood, that's not a thing. It's, again, not dialysis. You have organs that do that for you. A rock is not going to do that. Like, and again, they'll throw in some things to help you, like, oh, but fluoride, it's great for your teeth. And you're like, yeah, that makes sense. We have fluorinated water, or at least used to. And we have fluorinated toothpaste to help your teeth. But, like, also, that's the thing that they get you with, is they will put in just a couple nuggets where you're like, yeah, that checks. And then you start to believe the pseudoscience. And that's where it gets dangerous. Don't follow this. And somebody who's like, who needs medical research when I could just follow my psychic powers? No, don't do that. Basically, if something's gonna work, it needs to work for all religions. Because, like, it doesn't matter if you are Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, atheist, agnostic, witch, pagan, doesn't matter. If you get modern treatment for, like, a stupid thing, you have diabetes, and they give you metformin and they give you insulin, your body's gonna respond the exact same. And that's the magic of science, because it doesn't matter. It's gonna work. They might need to adjust your dosage and stuff, but it's going to work. This crap is not. You gotta believe in it. And again, all of them could agree. Doesn't matter. All over the globe, they could be like, yeah, and maybe it's not metformin exactly, but a medication like it to control your blood sugars and to treat with insulin. Like, that's pretty common, right? It doesn't matter your belief. It will work regardless, pretty much. Like, you know, again, placebo effect can work both ways, but still, like, it doesn't change. And that's the thing. Like, again, all of those groups could agree that it's like, hey, you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. If we give you insulin to treat it, will it work? Most of them are gonna be like, yeah. Like, they're not gonna not believe in it, right? But then if you say, no, see, if you just have this rock, the atheist will laugh you out the door. The others, you know, hit or miss on if they're gonna agree with it, maybe not. But again, across the board, insulin, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's probably gonna work, right? It's just, again, pseudoscience, which sucks. So anyways, don't read this book. It's terrible. Pseudoscience is bad. Believe in modern medicine. Because guess what? Modern medicine is happy to say if it's wrong. And these people would never. And acknowledges limitations for things. And these books don't. So anyways, don't read this book. And I will see you all next time, hopefully, for a better book. And thank you to my Patreon peeps. And until next time, blessed be.